There you go. If it's Wednesday, it's 7 p.m. And if
Oh,
it's Wednesday, it must be time for the next episode of Chasing Gazillions. Ain't the same as making millions.
it's closer in Puerto Rico.
And of course, I'm Anthony Bowling here with my partner, who's always somewhere else. What episode is this? What week is this? What episode is this?
Season 1, episode 14.
Season 1, episode 14. And I think it's not every episode, but at least every other episode, you are somewhere else. You're like, what's that show? What's that show it used to be?
Where's Waldo?
Where's Waldo? well, that's great. Well, look, you got that background, and it's creating that strange little thing around your headphone
Oh
and the
my
water.
God! Here we go. Here we go.
Here we go.
Technical
I'm just
support.
saying, you're in Puerto Rico. There you go. Go with the Puerto Rican background. There you go.
I'm in the hotel room.
I'm in the hotel. There you go. I love it.
So here's what
look.
happened. Hang on, let me tell you why I'm here. I mean, you call me out like that, I got to tell you why I'm here, right?
Okay, sure.
I work for a big company, Hilco Real Estate, and
Is it
they're
a big company?
oh yeah, it's a big company. They're working on a big deal here in Puerto Rico. I have signed an NDA, so I can't really talk about it. But
okay.
I'm here.
Congratulations.
Yeah, there's a team of like 4 of us, and I got called into the team to sell this very large project. So I'm very excited about it. I had about a 3-day notice. They said get on a plane on Tuesday, well, for a Wednesday meeting. So I came on Tuesday and leaving tomorrow. 3 days in Puerto Rico. What's wrong with
You
that?
said you were going to take your son.
He's with me. Yeah, he's with me.
I love it. I love it when the kids get to see the parents at work, or in your case, extended vacation.
Stop it. I worked for 4 hours. Now I'm not working. Well, it's been a good week. Let's just say that. It's been fun.
It's been fun, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And
me and my son.
There's gonna be another opportunity. You got that auction coming up in New Orleans with opportunities for people. And now this opportunity that you can't talk about right now, but you will in Puerto Rico. That's what we've been saying.
Yeah.
It's Wednesdays with Fernando and Anthony here, just kicking it, talking about our lives, our business. And today we have a special topic. We have a special guest today. We're going to be bringing on here in a moment. Karen Todd, Esquire, is a principal with TT. Hold on, let me make sure I get it right. TTG Title is a title settlement company here in Washington, D.C. She is an expert, and we're going to be bringing her on in a moment to talk to us about how to hold property, how to hold title, and answer all your other questions about it. I see here in the chat. Hey,
John Wright, down house.
John Wright. John Wright. Hey, John, thank you. We always love it. Seeing and hearing from you. Give us a question for Karen. Get ready. Hold on to your seats. Get ready. All right. So we got John is here in the house. And so that's where you are, Puerto Rico. Okay.
We're in the Tommy Bahama because you got to represent in the islands with the Washington Nationals logo on it. Got to represent.
Well, you got to represent. Okay. Fine.
Yeah.
You got to represent. There you go. Hey, on the 25th, in a few days, I go for my MRI for my back, where I sprained it or strained it or something playing golf.
Should have played half a hole. Playing the whole hole was the problem.
You're right.
On the 25th, I'll be playing Symphonic in Long Island, Southampton. So
Hey,
should be nice.
oh my lord. Yeah. Okay, dude. That's fine. Hey, uh signed deal this week.
Very
Put on the
nice.
contract a beautiful working with one of my investor clients, a multifamily property, beautiful 4-unit property. He's put under contract. Oh, the Virginia Bushcrafter. Hello, everyone. Hello, the Virginia Bushcrafter is here. We what would we do without the Virginia Bushcrafter?
Him and John Wright, right
That's
there.
right. They give us great questions, insight. We love them. Thank you. So I had that contract, put that property under contract successfully. I'm going to be out there tomorrow. In fact, another addition to chasing gazillions, it's not the same as making millions, is that we're going to be doing live from the investment properties. So tomorrow, I'm going to be coming to you live from a property that a client I've helped work with, put the property under contract. Now we're going to go to the site, visit the site. We're going to be coming to you live tomorrow, everyone, looking at this investment opportunity. And then also today I was out, looked at another property with another investment client that we're going to be hopefully putting under contract as well this week. But I'll report on that next week. So
I'll be jet skiing in the Caribbean. We won't go live with that. just
okay. Just
yeah.
saying. There you go. So let us. It's 10 after. Let us bring into the picture Karen Todd.
Good evening.
Hey,
Hello, welcome. Hello. Thank you for joining us this evening. Hey, Karen, is that a laptop?
Yes.
Can you turn that laptop towards your window so that the light can shine on that beautiful face of yours? Is that appropriate to say beautiful face of yours? No, the other way. So
This way? I think it's getting worse.
Somehow we want that light.
Hold on.
Creating the it's not coming on your face, but
is that better?
We're gonna go with it, but it's like I would. Oh, she went away. Uh-oh.
Why do you have to say something, Anthony? Can't you just let it be? Why?
Oh my goodness.
This is what happens. This is what happens.
Oh my goodness.
So to fill the time, me and Anthony had brunch this Sunday in beautiful Arlington at Ted's Bulletin.
We did.
Lovely brunch.
It's
good to hang out with my partner in crime. I enjoyed it. Thank you, Anthony.
Yeah, it was nice. And so everyone, so that you really understand, Fernando and I, they say we're the talent or whatever here for this program and all, but we really do like one another, right? We are, we've been in the business 35 years each together, but we just like each other, and so we like talking to one another and having brunch, and that was a really nice brunch, right? I mean, we had that big giant cinnamon roll thing.
Yeah,
it was as big as your head.
Not my head, but my head's pretty big.
But it was big.
It was big, yes.
And then I think I had the crab cakes Benedict.
Yes, that was very nice. Very nice. Yeah.
Right. Okay, hold on. Here's somebody else. A LinkedIn user has come in. Says, love the dialogue between the hosts. Entertaining. Well, see, we're getting it done, man. So back to Karen. Karen is back.
Thank you, Karen.
We
thought we scared you.
I pushed a button trying to move it and it turned it off.
Oh, okay. It was you. Okay, not us. Okay, good.
Yes, I must get one of those selfie lights or something in the future so I can illuminate better.
All right, fine. Well, when you host our show, then you'll be ready. So everybody, Karen Todd, come on, Karen, tell us about you, TTG Title Group, where you're located,
Okay.
and look at this. What we're gonna do? So tell us about how people can find you, your telephone number, and all. Come on, Karen, talk to the people before we get into
Oh,
today's program. Come on.
all right. My name is Karen Todd. I work at TTG Title, as you mentioned. Thank you again for having me. I appreciate the time. I'm located at 700 Pennsylvania Avenue in Washington, D.C., in Southeast, in the Eastern Market Corridor. So, right across the street from the Eastern Market Metro Station in the
So
heart
Eastern
of,
Market on Capitol Hill is in Southeast.
yes, if you did not know that.
If you didn't
Um,
know it, some
yes.
people think they're just in Eastern Market, and they think they're in Capitol Hill. And if you tell them
Or they
that
don't
you're
think they're
also
in
in
Southeast.
Southeast, they're
Yeah.
like, no, I'm not in Southeast. Southeast
Yes.
is somewhere else.
Absolutely, right. East of the river, even though,
Right,
right.
right, exactly.
Yes. I've been in real estate now for 10 years and specifically in title for the last 3.5 years.
Okay.
I'm a practicing lawyer. I, went to Howard Law School, originally
Did
from
you?
Los Angeles, California.
Okay.
Also a Bruin. I went to UCLA and
Go
you could
Bruins.
and so yeah, so I jumped in the title game, real estate game, really, really wanting to you know be a part of something that I think is fast growing, exciting, and where you can make a lot of money if you are
Oh,
strategic.
okay. There you go. There you go. So you've been in real estate 10 years, 3 years in title. Where were you those first 7 years? Were you, like working for the
Well,
government? Or what were you doing?
well, I did have a short stint working for DC government.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Which branch? Ooh.
well, I worked for DCRA in their licensing division. So I was the lawyer that represented, real estate agent, the real estate commission, the appraisal commission, like
When
all
were you at DCRA?
that was at 2009,
2009.
2009 to 2000 and I think 11.
That's when you got audited, Anthony, wasn't it?
So
Okay,
did
okay.
you just
So
recently get? Were you promoted to the real estate commission recently?
He was. He don't like to brag, but he was.
Yeah. So
no.
yeah. So I would have been working with you. So someone like you, like the board members, I was the one, giving the board advice and
Okay.
counsel as to, whether to, punish a realtor for some
Just for
misdeeds.
clarity's sake, the mayor did recently appoint me to the uh, real estate appraisal
Oh, you're an
board.
appraisal as well. Okay, excuse me. I thought
Right,
it was the
but
real estate
I am
commission.
not an appraisal. And just for the record here, the opinions that we have here on chasing gazillions, not the same as
No
making
time.
millions, are my opinions of Anthony Bowling and Fernando, just two real estate professionals, just yibbity yabbiting talking. We don't represent any of these DC agencies, the opinions, none of that.
No.
All
No
right.
one, we don't
Okay.
want to get sued for
Yeah.
something
You
we
know
said.
what?
We're here
Yeah,
for
okay.
entertainment purposes.
Well, and if we can make some business, but mostly it's. But when you mentioned DCRA, it threw me off because my lady was the director of DCRA.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
I'm sorry. When?
09 through 13.
Melinda Bowling.
Belinda.
Melinda Bowling.
Oh, I'm not putting that together. So I don't know if she was the
Now, actually, she was general counsel then.
yeah, she was the general counsel. I know your wife then. Yes, we've been to look, small world. I didn't even put the last names
Very small.
together.
Very small.
It's like, yeah, so I've seen her at conferences. You should ask her. She knows me. That's crazy. I didn't even put two and two together. But yes, she was
I
the
don't know what
general
that says about
counsel.
your counting abilities, but okay. We
She
got
was
you in here to be a lawyer. Talk about holding property, not arithmetic. So
no. It's just I'm just now like it's clicking now. Both,
is it clicking? Bold?
Yes, it's clicking. It's clicking. Got it. Okay.
All right.
Well,
Well, I hope that don't
tell
throw
her
you
I
off the
said
game now.
Tell her I said hello. Why would it? We didn't have we. Well, so just to be clear, she wasn't my boss. So even though I was there as a lawyer, we were not. I was under corporation counsel at the time.
Okay.
So my boss actually sat at the Wilson building.
Oh, okay.
I was kind of shepherded over there to handle just a very specific area within it. So we were more like colleagues than that kind of thing. So
Cool.
I never had an issue with her because we didn't have that type of experience. So it's all good here.
Well, she went from general counsel to director of the agency. But
I'm familiar with that. I knew that.
Okay. And now she's left DC. Well, not DC, but now she's out in Prince George's County, head of DeFi.
Yes, I heard that as well. So
cool.
Yes,
Hold
on, dear.
Small
this
world.
Your time. We're not gonna spend all of your time talking about my lady. Let her get on the show.
We like to talk. We like to talk. Let's just
really. So let's get back to you. This is about you.
Okay. So I wanted to come on today and talk a little bit about, since we don't have that much time.
As much time as you need, dear.
Yeah,
take all the time you need.
Time's not a problem.
To talk about title and why I think it's important for people to understand the different ways to hold title. Because I often get this question, and I think that we talk about buying property and holding property, but there are some pros and cons to how you hold title. So I wanted to talk about the different ways. So there's about 6 different ways you can hold title. The first, obviously, is the easiest, which is like sole ownership. Then you have what's called tenants in common, which is basically where you can have 2 people hold title and actually have a separate interest in that property. So you and I, for example, Anthony can hold as tenants in common in a property. I can hold 20%, you can hold 80%. And then I can then sell off my 20% to someone. And then you can either, do the same.
I'll buy it.
So the pros there, for example, I think are, if say you're in a second marriage and I'm not saying
we're not yet. We're 31 years in. There's no
31 years in, dear.
We're talking about okay. So say Joe Smith is in a second marriage. He marries Jane Smith, and they have outside children. Typically married couples may hold as tenants by the entirety, which is 100% ownership. So if Joe Smith passes, it goes to Jane Smith. However, if you have outside children, you may not want it to do that way. You may want your 20% or your 50% to go to your offspring, as opposed to going all the way to your second spouse. So it's something to think about when you're considering, how should I hold title? Do I want my kids to be the beneficiaries upon my death, or do I want my second spouse? And I do think it's something to think about, because oftentimes people just naturally will gravitate towards tenants by the entirety, because that's what people typically think of when they think of a married couple. Now,
how does that play out when this? I thought real estate that's acquired during this second marriage become a part of the ownership, is you and your second married person. You're saying that doesn't have to be the case?
No, you select how you want to hold title. So, for example, you get to choose that. I mean, there's an assumption that that's the way you'll do it, because there's certain.
Did anyone tell her that she wasn't going to be in the title? Someone needs to tell her.
Well, no, she would still be on title, but I'm just saying the way in which you would then hold the title. So she would hold title as well. But say she had outside children and she wanted to then ensure that they had her interest as well. I mean, the cons clearly are there as well, right? Because now you can have, say, 5 kids from both sides owning and fighting, and then someone forces you to sell it. But it's just something to consider if you're thinking about, well, how do I want to then own title, hold title, so that I have my options. Now, a positive now to holding by tenants by the entirety, I would want to also bring up is that because the law favors marriage, they kind of treat it like the Teflon of how to hold title. So if Jane gets into a car accident, and they hold by tenants by the entirety, that person who sues Jane doesn't attach to the property, because it's a marital asset and it's 100% ownership within Jane and John, not 50% Jane, 50% John. so it doesn't attach. Same thing with tax liens, it won't attach. It will attach though if it's, say you file your taxes jointly, Jane and John file jointly, then that tax lien attaches. However, if it's just Jane's tax lien and they hold by tenants by the entirety, then it doesn't attach to the property, the marital property.
Okay. So we're talking about property, holding the property. Now it has some tax implications. Clearly, people should be getting advice from their tax advisors about the tax implication of holding title in a certain way, the impact of it. Particularly if you marry somebody that's prone to go out and get in an accident and subject you to a lawsuit.
Well, I'm not here giving any legal advice. I'm just here giving people
a girl.
to think about
I was smart. Very smart.
In terms of how what to consider. Clearly, there are oftentimes multitude of things to consider, and I'd always advise somebody to get legal advice when it comes to that. But I definitely feel like oftentimes by the time someone is about to purchase a home, they're just going to make a quick decision, and they're not going to be thinking very clearly. They're just going to be like, well, what do you know, and then go with it. Something else I've seen that happens sometimes in pitfalls with the way you hold title is when you can't qualify for a loan, for example, and then someone suggests you adding a third person just so that you can get this loan, right? So I recently saw something like that where, you know,
hold on, are you adding the third person to the mortgage application or to the title?
So both, right? So say, for example, you have, you know, you're just shy of making it. Your credit's off or something's off and you need a third person, and it could be a boyfriend. Okay,
now let's go. This is two people. Me and Fernando want to buy something.
Yeah. So, so two people. I've seen it with even three. The challenge then becomes you know, once you add someone to the ownership of your property, and say you and Fernando go your separate ways, and it's not a positive experience, then and this
it happens.
You know, and this is say your primary residence, or, you know, and Fernando isn't say Fernando just did it to help you out and it's impacting his credit.
I'm a giver.
Yeah, what right. I do. It's impacting his credit, but it's not necessarily any money. He's not putting a dime towards this purchase, right? So you personally feel like this is your property, but legally,
I'm putting out the money. I'm paying the taxes.
But I have people say this all the time. It's my property. It doesn't belong to Fernando, but it actually does, because Fernando has ownership.
Sorry, Anthony.
He has an ownership stake in the property. So I do think that, you know, I know when we get to the point where we really want something, we may just say, let's just go ahead. But you just want to think about the implications of adding someone, because you need their signature to remove them. And a lot of times I see this with boyfriend and girlfriend scenarios, and not with married couples, you know, clearly, you know, you see a lot of people saying, oh, well, I love him, or I like him, or, you know, and then you then go ahead and you do it. But then, you know, say you break up, and, you know, a lot of times people will break up, and I don't know if they forget that person's on title or how they're moving. And then, you know, years go on, and you have to consider that, especially say, for example, if you held by joint tenants with right or survivorship, right? So if you hold by
joint, hold on. Now hold on. We went from tenancy by the entirety, that was husband and wife.
Tenants in common.
Tenants in common, that was just two human beings, me and Fernando, or me, Fernando, somebody and some other person
having separate, but in separate shares.
Right. And now we got this third thing. You're saying with right of survivorship.
Yes. So joint tenants with right of survivorship basically means that you and Fernando can hold a piece of property, and then if either one of you passes, just by operation of law, just by operation of law, the surviving tenant gets 100%. It moves outside of probate, and there's no need for anyone. There's no
will. My lady don't get my stuff.
No one gets it, but the other tenant that's actually on title.
Now you just said something that I hear all the time, and that is by operation of law. Now talk to the people about by operation of law. I hear people saying, well, I'm married. We are held it by tenants by the entirety. I'm married. The spouse dies. Now I get it. And by operation of law, I get it. So that's why I don't have to go through probate, because it's now mine. Talk to us about what it means to be by operation of the law and whether or not one has to do or is advised to do any additional steps to perfect their ownership interest in real estate if there is this thing by operations of law.
Okay. So by operation of law basically means that there is some law that is triggered upon certain actions. So for example, when you hold by joint tenants with right of survivorship, or you hold by tenants
With
by the
right of survivorship, meaning with the right,
so
you
basically
survive
that
the other guy.
yes. So with right of survivorship basically means that the tenant that actually survived and lived now
The
gets
tenant
ownership.
is hold on, landlord tenant, the tenant.
No, not a landlord tenant. So property law is a little interesting, right? So tenancy, right? So that's a great question.
Tenancy.
So a
Okay.
tenancy. So a tenancy is basically your right to do something. So you could be a tenant, right? And you have a right to occupy this space. So
I have a tenancy. I have a right.
You have a tenancy. So
I don't have a person paying me rent like a tenant.
But
No.
it's still but it is a form of tenancy.
Okay, it is.
Yeah, so it is a form of tenancy. It's producing a right for someone to be able to do something.
Got it.
Right?
Got
so
it.
The tenancy in the right of survivorship is that surviving person is now able to take over the rest. So if there's 3 people on title, one person passes, 2 people now own 50-50 because that third person has now fallen off. With right of survivorship, that's just like, again, it's just as strong as tenants by the entirety, because again, in that tenancy, it's like the law sees it as 100%. It's not 50 Karen, 50 Anthony, 50 Fernando. It's literally 100% by a block. And then when one person falls off, it then still stays 100 with whomever's still left, right? You're moving like this. So what by operational law means,
do I need a piece of paper? Am I going to get a piece of paper?
I'm going to tell you.
That's going to show now by operation of law.
By operation of law,
just me and
you would present a death certificate. So the death certificate is what you would need. I just had this happen in a transaction. I have a husband and a wife that's on title. It looks like 2 deeds ago, she was married to someone else living in that exact same house. The next deed goes just from the husband and wife just to her, then to the new husband and wife. So then I go to her with the assumption that that husband must have died. It just wasn't mentioned in the deed. So without even asking any other questions, I said, do you have a death certificate for husband number 1? She goes, here you go. That makes all the sense in the world, because by operation of law, no one mentions him at all, even though he's on that first deed. Goes to the second deed. No one at the deed should have at least acknowledged that he died on this date. That way it wouldn't be questionable and I wouldn't have to ask for the death certificate. But because there wasn't anything mentioning him at all, it looked like we had a break in the chain of title, but ultimately we didn't. He had died, and by operation of law, all I needed to do was see a death certificate. Once I saw that he died, I knew she was the full sole owner, and then she could then move on by herself and then add the second husband.
Because it's presumed then that she and the first husband held the property tenancy by the entirety, not tenants in common with right of survivorship.
It's not presumed, it is stated. So that's the other thing. It has to be stated, because depending on your jurisdiction, if it's not stated, the presumption.
And by stated, you mean written down on a piece of paper somewhere?
In the deed.
Okay, come on now.
Specifically in the deed, not in a piece of paper, in the deed. The deed has to specify how you're going to hold title. If it is silent, the presumption is tenants in common.
Oh.
In most jurisdictions, which means that you're
50-50 thing.
Well, 50-50 or 20-30 or however you state it, but if it's not stated, it's going to be assumed 50-50.
Right.
And again, that has implications because, I'll give you another example. I had, 2 siblings. They don't get along. They hold tenants in common. Apparently, that's the way their parents wanted it. Now, they don't get along. So one sibling has been trying to sell that 50% interest forever. And no title company is insuring that transaction.
Why not? I have a legitimate 50%. I have a tenant in common interest. You said I have a tenancy. You said I could sell my tenancy.
You
Why
can.
won't the industry and the title company recognize my interest and allow me to sell my interest then?
Well, it's not that they won't allow you to, they will. The challenge is that they don't want to insure only 50%. They want to insure the whole 100.
Well, that seems like a form of redlining.
Well, I don't know about, go ahead.
Could the other owner sign something saying I'm okay with this transaction to let that happen?
I haven't, I do not think that an underwriter will allow it, just because in their view, they view that as a risk. They view that as an insurable risk, that if they fight and those two don't get along, that they might have a claim under the title policy. So for them, they would prefer to convey 100% ownership in a piece of property. They're not interested in doing 50%.
So you got to be careful who you do tenants in common with.
Yeah, it does present future interest,
because you really don't have nothing. It's like we have 100, but
together
you don't have nothing.
You have 100 together.
So you could, but you could. So to me, what needs to happen? But you have to have money to do this. You then have to petition the court to force the sale
by bringing what's called a partition action.
Correct. So you would.
So now, in order to get my 50%, I have to take money, hire a lawyer to then go to court to sue to get my 50% out. No operation of law going to help me, because the title insurance industry sees it as too great a risk to insure my 50%.
Well, correct. I mean, insurance companies are risk averse.
They're not averse to taking my monthly insurance payment.
Oh, here we go. Come on. We have our own attorney on this podcast. That's Anthony.
I did see that you had a JD.
Yeah.
I'm just following along with what you're saying. It's your industry. I'm not a title attorney. I mean, I'm not the one that I was there. I did it for 3 years, but I'm gonna let you talk about your industry and how they are really steamrolling over these tenancy rights that I have, that a person has. Because if you can't insure it, you can't sell it. You can't sell it. You still stuck with your sibling owning 50% of something that he's living in and won't let you use it.
Well, so is that the title insurance issue, or is that, the way in which the parents, gave them title? So sometimes I think the other thing that people have to consider is you kind of know your family members, you understand the dynamics, and you try to take a fair route by doing something like that. But I do think that, in all fairness, those are considerations that we should think about, right? Maybe it should have been held in trust. That's another way that you can hold title. That's the fourth one now, right? You can then hold it in trust. And in that way, the trustees can then dictate how things go versus it being individuals. And then you can then put someone in place to then.
So you saying if you know your kids and you know Pookie is not as responsible as Susan, maybe you ought to consider.
Oftentimes you'll have one child that's probably living in the house, not paying certain things.
I was living in the house taking care of mama now. I wasn't just living here. I was the one taking care of mama.
Yes. So you may want Pookie to live in the house until Pookie passes. And then you may then want it to be sold, or you may want it to pass on so it can inure for generations to come. But if you have your siblings fighting over
Karen,
it,
can I tell you
and
something?
they're fighting.
I got to interrupt. I'm sorry for yelling at you. I'm mad at yelling at you. He's just loud. He just likes to scream. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
Go ahead.
I didn't take it personally.
Nah.
Well, you're a Bruin, that's why.
I didn't take it personally.
Good. Come on. So now we got these 4 ways.
Yes. So So I would always encourage someone to talk to an estate lawyer to think about, again, using this family planning tool, which is holding by an estate trust. A lot of people don't want to talk about death. They don't want to think about, their untimely demise. But I do think that if you're thinking about one, as you would say, court costs and probate, the estate moves out of probate. If you title your property in a trust, then you no longer then have to be concerned with that piece of property having to go through probate. So, and trusts are often less likely to be challenged like a will, just because of all the attestation requirements. So when you put it in trust, usually the trustee or the successor trustee, really does have to say in how the property then is conveyed or how it, doesn't convey. So I do think that that's a very strong tool that people should consider if probate or avoiding probate is a concern of theirs. Now, there's,
now why are people trying to avoid probate? I've heard people always trying to quote avoid probate, and I'm saying, why are we trying to avoid probate? It appears that probate is a way to administer the last will and a testaments of people about what they wanted done with their stuff. And if they left a will, they left clear instructions. If they didn't leave a will, now we have a way to have a third party that's not a member of the family who can maybe more objectively administer the distribution of these assets through a probate process. Why are people trying to avoid that? Why do we need to draw?
I can answer that. Because people come out of the woodwork for these events. Probate, they announce it. People show up and say, I have a piece of that. He was my favorite. He promised me this. He promised me that. It opens up the whole can of worms. That's why people try to avoid probate. That's what I think. I'm not a lawyer, though.
Well, I'm not a probate lawyer, but I would imagine from just some of the things that I've seen occur with probate cases, probate can be a very costly tool. So we talk about money, right? Oftentimes, most people, have to then hire a lawyer if there is any issues with it being contested. And yes, they come out the woodwork. And oftentimes, when the family when they can't agree, especially if you die without a will and that's intestate, then you end up probably losing a lot of money by having these disagreements where people just aren't able to then make decisions well, and then it's left. So your legacy to me is just kind of left up in the air. And so if it doesn't matter to you, then maybe that's okay. But if your legacy and trying to build generational wealth, imagine amassing 3 or 4 properties or something that they have value and equity, and then you just have a lot of chaos after your death. I think that that's the main reason why a lot of people would want to avoid that, just because when there's chaos, the only people that are winning are lawyers and bankers typically.
Well, I'm not necessarily mad at the attorneys about being gainfully
I'm not
employed.
mad at them either, but I mean, again,
I'm mad at them. I'm mad at them.
We hear from the Virginia Bushcrafter says they don't want to go through probate. Greed.
Caps, all caps.
All caps. Yes, greed. Yes.
So the other, well, 2 more things I wanted to add about the trust. Well, one, I think that I wanted to add, I am not a probate wills and trust attorney, but I do think the older, say, a homeowner gets, one of the other considerations that they may want to also talk to and definitely consult with a lawyer is to talk about an irrevocable trust, because an irrevocable trust becomes a very useful tool in how to own property when you are looking to then qualify for Medicaid and Medicare. So I definitely feel like that's a very
how so?
Because when you say, once you hit like say 60 and you become AL or whatever, they then look at how much assets you have in order for you to qualify. So a lot of times one of the tools people use is to put things in an irrevocable trust in order to no longer then say that they have any control over these assets, which then makes them qualify for these types of benefits, public benefits.
Okay, that's not fraud. You're not intentionally hiding asset to avoid paying for the care that you're going to receive through Medicaid.
They have a 5-year look back period.
Actually, it's 10, but I who's counting?
I was told it was 5, but we
Okay,
can
but
ask
it
the
is
lawyer.
10. But,
okay. And if that's the case,
so angry.
I don't think that it's considered fraud if it's a tool.
Oh,
if it's legal, it's not fraud.
Tool. If it is a tool, then it's not illegal. That more people should avail themselves of these tools, sort of like bankruptcy. If bankruptcy will allow you to do away with all the credit cards that you run up at Macy's and all these other creditors,
here we go.
Rid of all this
with the anger. Here goes the anger.
I'm like, why are you mad at people who file bankruptcy? It is a tool. It is a tool.
Yeah.
It's not like we invented the tool.
And it's a legal tool. It allows people to avail themselves to a process.
Lawyers.
Yeah. So again, something to consider, because I do think that, and I've heard a lot of people, Big Mama has this one house and they don't know that she needs care and she then no longer qualifies because she has this house.
Hold on. See, now there is where you hit the button now. There is the issue. Why don't they know that grandma needs care? Grandma was caring for them their whole life. Now she's 70, 80. You don't know that she needs care? Of course she needs care. She over here eating cat food out of a can in this big old house.
Damn you, Pookie. What's wrong with you, Pookie? What's wrong with you?
This is too funny. So... So, yes, there are times a lot of people just don't know what they don't know. And so as a result, it would just be helpful for people to then avail themselves to these tools and look more into it. That's all I wanted to say about it.
Tell the people here,
this has been really good, by the way.
Yeah, we
this
here
has been really good, Karen. You did a great job.
Esquire.
Great job.
With TTG title, going over the 4, 5, 6 ways to hold title, avoid probate, and cut down on all the yickety yak with you and your brothers and in-laws that you don't like. Tell the people how they're going to find you, Karen. How can they reach you and get more information from you about how to hold property title?
You can reach me at Karen@ttgtitle.com or 202-830-0024.
Nice. All right. So everybody, again, this has been, what episode is this?
Season 1, episode 14.
Season 1, episode 14 of Chasing Gazillions. Ain't the same as making millions.
Wednesdays with Fernando and Anthony.
Just 2 real estate professionals who've been around for a long time. Kicking it with bringing you competent professionals like Miss Karen Todd to talk to you about how to hold real estate, how to hold title, how to manage. She's talking about look back and putting properties in a trust. So right now, if mama's 50, 60 years old, you want to think about putting her in a trust, property in a trust now. 10 years from now, when she's 70, 80, you don't have no problem with shipping her off to that Medicaid, that hospital. And when they say, do she got any assets? You say, nope.
Pookie's got them. Pookie's got them all. That's who's got them.
Right. And when they do that 10-year look back, property going to be hidden, tucked away in a nice trust. They're not going to see a thing. And we just going to stick it to Medicaid and Medicare for all of grandma's medical needs and services here.
So angry.
Like they said, hey, if it's legal, you should be taking advantage of these tools that Karen is talking about that are here and available for you and your family. And she also said hey, get a professional. Get someone
Absolutely.
who is competent and knowledgeable, who's been doing this, who's experienced at it. She's doing title work and settlements. She sees a lot of stuff. She closed the deal for me. She closing deals for me. Me? Who am I? Oh, I'm Anthony Bowling, director of the
Oh
Anthony
my
Bowling
God.
Group.
He goes third person. He's going third person right now, Karen. Just got to back up and let him go.
We are full service real estate professionals here in
Oh,
the
here we go.
DMV. And I'm here with my partner, Fernando, who's with Hilco. He does auctions nationwide. He's with a big company. I talked to him earlier. Didn't you say you got a big company?
Big company.
Nationwide big company.
International, actually.
International. Where you at right now doing business?
San Juan, Puerto Rico.
Hey, there you go. And where were you last week?
New Orleans, Louisiana.
And where you going to be next week?
Southampton, Long Island.
See, that's what you get when you're working with Fernando and Anthony here on Wednesdays. Big companies, a lot of resources, experiences, and bringing you people like Karen Todd, who has been in this game, understands real estate, can help you and your family transition properties, how to hold title. She's doing deeds and settlements. You're doing commercial work also, Karen? Is it
I
just
am.
residential?
I do residential and commercial in Maryland, Virginia, and DC.
Maryland, Virginia, the whole DMV, your commercial transactions, your residential transactions. You want to be checking out TTG Title and get great service. I can recommend Karen Todd. She has provided great service to my clients, and we are always looking forward to doing more business with her and her company here in the future. Karen, we are coming up on the final minutes. We do have a sponsor. And so before you go, we want to bring in our sponsor here before we hit the top of the hour from Global Scholars Foundation, a local nonprofit organization here in Washington, D.C. that provides support and financial assistance and financial literacy training to District of Columbia public school and charter school kids, ninth grade through 12th. And then after they go through this long 18-month immersion program, they actually go off to those countries. Take those kids, all expenses paid, 25 kids to Brazil, South Africa, China, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Australia. And this organization, nonprofit, does all this because of the charitable givings that people like you, Karen, who have companies and businesses and making money in real estate, like you, Fernando, who work for these big international companies and got big pockets. And this year they're looking to raise $100,000 at their third annual brunch and golf tournament, charity tournament. Is going to be held at the Woodmore Country Club in Prince George's County, Maryland. And let's hear from our sponsor, Global Scholars Foundation.
Calling all golfers and brunchers. Please mark your calendar to join the Global Scholars Foundation for a 2-day event hosting the third annual golf tournament and newly added jazz brunch at the Woodmore Country Club in Mitchellville, Maryland. The 2-day event will kick off on Sunday, October the 2nd with a jazz brunch and continue on Monday, October the 3rd for our third annual golf tournament. Please visit our website at globalscholars.foundation for more information and to register for this event.
Very nice. Very nice.
Global Scholars Foundation, our first sponsor of Chasing Gazillions, been right there. We love Global Scholars Foundation and all that they are doing, and we're happy to be a supporter of them in their efforts to raise $100,000 here by October. So we don't have a lot of time, and we're looking for sponsors and supporters of that event. So we want to thank you, Karen. Want to thank you, Karen, for the information you've shared with our organization. Right now, we want to give you opportunity to close us out, share some important points that you think people really need to know, in addition to how they get in touch with you.
Okay. Well,
Make it
thank you.
quick though. I have a ribeye to eat. Make it quick.
Well, thank you guys so much for having me on your show. Just as closing remarks, I just want to encourage everyone that when you are purchasing your home or when you're purchasing real estate for investment purposes, it's probably one of the largest investments you'll ever make. And so when you do so, you should be thoughtful, methodical, and try to ask as many questions as you can so that you're ensuring that you're protecting these assets. You don't want to just invest in them, you want to also protect them. And if you're attempting to grow generational wealth, which most of us say we are, it is very important to be thoughtful about next steps as we age in place so that the next generations can also hold. And I'm a big proponent on people being thoughtful, thinking about how far can you send your legacy into the future? Can you ensure that your children's children's children can kind of eat off of what you've done? Oftentimes, because property isn't getting any cheaper, if you think about what you hold today and how it can help somebody 100 years from now, the power and what real estate can do. So it really is important not just to think about your current children, but about those future generations so that we can make a lasting impact on the kids that are coming after them. Thank you
Wow.
so much. And I'm always reachable at ttgtitle.com. And thank you again, you guys, for having me.
Thank
Wow.
you. That was
Thank
great.
you. That was great.
Very good guest.
Yes, that was amazing. We hear now also from the Virginia Bushcrafter.
Stop it, Virginia.
Come
Stop
on,
it.
come on, don't do
Stop
that.
it. Stop it.
No.
Can't be an hour. It's
No,
50,
no.
52 minutes right now.
It's already a 30-minute show. We had 52 minutes. If it was an hour show, oh my goodness, come on.
We like to talk. We like to talk.
Well, thank you, Karen. Hey, Fernando, you down in Puerto Rico?
Now he's yelling at me.
Like yelling at you. So have a great trip down there, you and your son. I see him in the background, moving around, putting bunny ears behind your head and all. So have a safe trip, man. Look forward to you coming back, and we'll see you when you get back in town. Hey, Karen, everybody, thank you all again for joining us on our season 1, episode 14 of Chasing Gazillions. Not the same as making millions.
Getting closer here, though. I mean, it's getting real close.
But it's getting closer. I'm Anthony Bowling with my partner, Fernando, and this has been Wednesdays with Fernando and Anthony. Thank you all. Be safe, and we'll see you out there. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.